Imagine this: you're standing in the middle of a storm. Not just any storm, but one so chaotic, so soul-shaking, that it feels as if the universe itself has singled you out for destruction. The skies are dark, the winds howl, and every step you take feels like a battle just to stay upright. That's where the chosen ones are born, into chaos, into the storm, into the kind of suffering that makes most people crumble. But here's the thing: chaos isn't the end of their story, it's the beginning. I want you to think about a moment in your life when everything seemed to fall apart. Maybe it was the loss of a loved one, the betrayal of someone you trusted, or the crushing weight of failure. Whatever it was, it felt unbearable, didn't it? Like the world was punishing you for some unspoken crime. But what if I told you that moment wasn't a punishment? What if it was a calling? A signal that you were being prepared for something greater? Let me share something profound. Chosen ones are not born into ease or comfort. They are born into fire, into chaos, because the fire is what forges them. Think about the story of Joseph from the Bible. He was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, and thrown into prison for a crime he didn't commit. By all accounts, his life was nothing but suffering. But what happened in the end? He rose to become one of the most powerful men in Egypt, saving nations from famine. Joseph himself said in Genesis 50:20, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." The chaos wasn't his curse, it was his training ground.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
And here's the first insight I want you to take away: chaos isn't there to break you. It's there to awaken you. You see, the chosen ones are different. They have the potential to see beyond the surface of pain and understand its deeper purpose. While most people run from suffering, the chosen ones endure it, even embrace it, because they understand that the struggle is molding them into something extraordinary. This is not just some motivational cliche, it's a pattern that repeats itself in every great life story. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher, wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the very obstacle in your path is the path. But why chaos? Why suffering? Why can't chosen ones just be born into success and happiness? The answer lies in the nature of growth. Nothing grows without resistance. A tree's roots grow deeper when the wind threatens to uproot it. Muscles grow stronger when they are pushed to their limits. And the human spirit, it grows in the face of adversity. Chaos is the resistance that forces the chosen ones to dig deeper, to find strength they didn't know they had, and to rise above circumstances that would destroy most people. Now, let's get practical. How do you rise above chaos? How do you take the pain, the confusion, and the heartbreak and turn it into something meaningful? The first step is to shift your perspective. Most people see suffering as something to be avoided at all costs. They numb themselves with distractions, social media, entertainment, even toxic relationships just to escape the discomfort. But the chosen ones do the opposite. They lean into the pain. They sit with it. They ask, what is this trying to teach me? This is not easy. In fact, it's one of the hardest things you'll ever do. But it's also one of the most transformative. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're going through a devastating breakup. The pain is overwhelming, and all you want to do is distract yourself or blame the other person. But what if, instead, you asked yourself, what can I learn from this? What was this experience trying to show me about myself? Maybe it's teaching you about self-worth, or boundaries, or the importance of loving yourself before you can truly love someone else. When you shift your perspective in this way, the chaos becomes a teacher, not an enemy. The second step is to take responsibility. This doesn't mean blaming yourself for things that aren't your fault. It means taking ownership of your response to the chaos. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and author of Man's Search for Meaning, wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond." This is the essence of rising above chaos, realizing that you have the power to choose your attitude, your actions, and your mindset, no matter how dire the circumstances. And this brings us to the third step, faith. I'm not just talking about religious faith, although that can be a powerful source of strength. I'm talking about faith in the bigger picture. Faith that your struggles are not random or meaningless, but part of a greater plan. Think about the caterpillar in the cocoon. From the outside, it looks like it's trapped, like it's suffering, but inside it's transforming into a butterfly. The chaos of the cocoon is necessary for the beauty of the butterfly to emerge. In the same way, the chaos in your life is preparing you for your transformation. Let me leave you with this thought: you were not born into chaos by accident. You were born into chaos because you are meant to rise above it. You are meant to be a light in the darkness, a beacon for others who are still lost in the storm. But to fulfill that purpose, you must first face your own chaos and conquer it. You must embrace the fire and allow it to forge you into the person you were always meant to be. This is not an easy path. It's not meant to be. But it is a meaningful one. And in the end, when you look back on your journey, you will see that the chaos was not your enemy. It was your greatest ally. Because it didn't just show you who you are, it showed you who you could become. Now that we've established why chaos is the birthplace of chosen ones and how it forges them into something extraordinary, let's go deeper. Let's explore the process of rising above it, the internal transformation that turns pain into power and chaos into clarity. This is not just about survival, it's about thriving. It's about taking the raw, unfiltered mess of life and shaping it into something beautiful, something meaningful. First, we need to understand the nature of chaos itself. Chaos is not just an external force. It manifests within us as fear, doubt, and confusion. When life falls apart, the real battle isn't outside, it's inside your mind. The fear tells you, this is the end. You'll never recover from this. The doubt whispers, you're not strong enough. You're not good enough, and the confusion blinds you, making it feel impossible to see a way forward. This is why rising above chaos is not just a physical journey. It's a spiritual and psychological war. But here's the secret: the chaos inside you is not your enemy. It's your guide. It's pointing you to the parts of yourself that need healing, growth, and transformation. Think of it this way: when a bone breaks, the body rushes to repair it. But during that healing process, the bone becomes stronger at the point of the break. The same is true for your spirit. Chaos breaks you open, but only so you can rebuild yourself stronger than before. The first step in this internal transformation is self-awareness. You cannot rise above chaos if you don't understand how it's affecting you. This requires brutal honesty. You have to face your fears, your doubts, and your pain without flinching. Most people avoid this because it's uncomfortable. They distract themselves or blame others for their problems. But the chosen ones take a different approach. They look in the mirror and ask, what is this chaos revealing about me? This kind of self-reflection is not easy. It requires courage, but it's also the key to breaking free from the patterns that keep you stuck. Let me give you an example. Imagine someone who constantly finds themselves in toxic relationships. On the surface, they might blame their partners or bad luck. But if they dig deeper, they might discover that their chaos is rooted in a lack of self-worth or unresolved trauma from their past. By becoming aware of these deeper issues, they can begin to heal and make different choices. The chaos, in this case, was a mirror showing them where they needed to grow. Now, self-awareness is just the beginning. Once you've identified the source of your chaos, the next step is to take action. This is where most people falter. They get stuck in analysis paralysis, overwhelmed by the magnitude of the work ahead. But the chosen ones understand that progress doesn't happen all at once. It happens one step at a time. As the philosopher Lao Tzu said, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. That step might be seeking therapy, setting boundaries, or simply committing to a daily practice of self-care. Whatever it is, the key is to start. Action creates momentum, and momentum creates change. But here's where it gets interesting. Rising above chaos isn't just about fixing yourself. It's about discovering your purpose. The chosen ones understand that their struggles are not just for their own benefit. They are meant to use their pain as a source of wisdom and strength to help others. Think about people like Nelson Mandela, who endured decades of imprisonment but emerged with a vision of reconciliation and peace. His chaos wasn't just about him, it was about the millions of lives he would touch. The same is true for you. Your chaos is preparing you to serve a greater purpose. But to fulfill that purpose, you must first rise above it. This brings us to the concept of meaning. One of the most powerful ways to rise above chaos is to find meaning in it. Viktor Frankl, who survived the horrors of the Holocaust, wrote, "In some ways, suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning." This doesn't mean you have to enjoy your pain or pretend it's not difficult. It means you have to see it as part of a larger story. Ask yourself, how is this chaos shaping me? What is it teaching me? How can I use it to grow? When you find meaning in your struggles, they become less overwhelming. They become a stepping stone, not a stumbling block. Let's talk about resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity, but it's more than just enduring hardship. It's about adapting, learning, and growing stronger because of it. Resilience is what allows the chosen ones to rise above chaos, not just once, but repeatedly. Life will always throw challenges your way. The question is not whether you'll face chaos, it's how you'll respond to it. Resilience is the skill that ensures you don't just survive those challenges, but thrive because of them. How do you build resilience? It starts with your mindset. You have to shift from a victim mentality to a victor mentality. The victim says, "Why is this happening to me?" The victor says, "What can I learn from this?" The victim sees chaos as an obstacle. The victor sees it as an opportunity. This mindset shift is not automatic. It takes practice. But every time you choose to see the lesson in your struggles, you strengthen your resilience. Another key to building resilience is gratitude. This might sound counterintuitive. How can you be grateful in the middle of chaos? But gratitude doesn't mean ignoring your pain. It means acknowledging the blessings that coexist with your struggles. Maybe the chaos has revealed who your true friends are. Maybe it's forced you to develop skills or strengths you didn't know you had. When you focus on what you have, rather than what you've lost, you cultivate a sense of hope. And hope is a powerful antidote to despair. Finally, let's talk about faith. Faith is what sustains the chosen ones when everything else falls apart. It's the belief that no matter how dark the night, the dawn will come. Faith doesn't eliminate chaos, but it gives you the strength to endure it. This is why so many of the greatest leaders and thinkers in history have spoken about the importance of faith. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase." Faith is what allows you to keep moving forward, even when the path is unclear. But faith is not just about waiting passively for things to get better. It's about taking action, trusting that your efforts will bear fruit even if you can't see the results right away. It's about believing in your own potential, in the possibility of transformation, and in the idea that your chaos is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of something greater. So where does this leave us? Chaos is not something to fear. It's something to embrace. It's the fire that forges the chosen ones into the people they were meant to be. But rising above chaos is not a passive process. It requires self-awareness, action, resilience, and faith. It requires you to see your struggles not as a curse, but as a gift that's preparing you for your purpose. So we've explored the origins of chaos, the internal battles it creates, and the steps to rise above it. But now let's focus on the ultimate transformation, the moment when the chosen ones don't just survive their chaos, but master it. This is where the narrative shifts. Chaos is no longer just something to endure or overcome. It becomes a tool, a force that the chosen ones harness to fulfill their destiny. This is the part of the journey where the storm doesn't quiet down, it becomes your ally. But before we get to that, let's address something crucial. Why do so many people get stuck in chaos? Why do some never rise above it, while others emerge as extraordinary? The answer lies in a single word: identity. Most people define themselves by their circumstances. If life is chaotic, They see themselves as victims of that chaos. They internalize it, creating a narrative that says, I am broken, I am unlucky, I am not enough. This identity becomes a prison, trapping them in a cycle of suffering. But the chosen ones, they rewrite the story. They understand that chaos is not who they are, it's what they're going through. And what you go through does not define you. What defines you is how you respond. This is why identity is so critical. If you see yourself as someone who is broken, you'll act that way. But if you see yourself as someone who is being forged by fire, someone who is destined for greatness, you'll rise to meet that vision. Here's an analogy to make this clear. Imagine a seed buried in the dirt. From the outside, it looks like it's been buried alive, smothered by darkness. But inside, something incredible is happening. The pressure of the soil, the nutrients from the earth, and the water from above are all working together to transform that seed into a tree. The dirt isn't its grave, it's its foundation. In the same way, the chaos in your life isn't there to bury you. It's there to grow you. But for that growth to happen, you have to change how you see yourself. You have to stop identifying as the victim and start identifying as the chosen one. Now, let's get practical again. How do you shift your identity? How do you go from feeling powerless in the face of chaos to feeling like its master? The first step is visualization. You have to see the person you want to become, even if you're not that person yet. Close your eyes and imagine yourself on the other side of your struggles. What does that version of you look like? How do they think, act, and feel? The more vividly you can imagine this future version of yourself, the more your brain will start to align with that vision. Neuroscience has shown that the brain can't always distinguish between what's real and what's vividly imagined. So when you visualize your future self, you're literally rewiring your brain to become that person. The second step is action. You can't just think your way into a new identity, you have to act your way into it. Start small. Ask yourself, what would the future version of me do in this situation, then do that. It doesn't matter if it feels unnatural at first. The more you act in alignment with your future self, the more natural it will become. Over time, those actions will solidify into habits, and those habits will solidify into your identity. Now, as you start to rise above chaos and align with your true identity, something remarkable happens. You begin to see your chaos as a gift. This might sound strange, even absurd, but let's break it down. Every struggle you faced has taught you something, hasn't it? Maybe it's resilience, maybe it's compassion, maybe it's the strength to stand alone. Whatever it is, your chaos has shaped you in ways that comfort never could. As Friedrich Nietzsche famously said, that which does not kill us makes us stronger, but it's not just about strength. It's about wisdom. It's about the unique insights and perspectives you've gained from your struggles, insights that you can now use to help others. And this leads us to the final stage of the chosen one's journey: service. The chosen ones don't rise above chaos just for themselves. They rise so that they can lift others. They understand that their struggles were not meaningless, they were preparation. Preparation to guide, to inspire, to lead. Think about the greatest leaders, thinkers, and healers in history. Almost all of them went through immense suffering. Why? Because their suffering gave them the depth and empathy to connect with others. It gave them the credibility to say, I've been where you are, and I know the way out. This is why your chaos matters. It's not just about your own growth. It's about the impact you're meant to have on the world. Maybe you're meant to write a book, start a movement, or simply be a source of strength for the people around you. Whatever it is, your chaos has equipped you for it. But to step into that role, you have to embrace your story, all of it. The pain, the failures, the moments when you wanted to give up. Those aren't weaknesses. They're your superpowers. They're what make you relatable, authentic, and human. Now, let's talk about the final piece of the puzzle: surrender. Rising above chaos doesn't mean fighting it every step of the way. It means learning to flow with it, to trust the process, even when you don't understand it. This requires surrender, not in the sense of giving up, but in the sense of letting go. Letting go of the need to control everything. Letting go of the need to have all the answers. letting go of the fear that chaos will destroy you. In the Bible, there's a verse that captures this perfectly. Be still and know that I am God, Psalm 46:10. Stillness doesn't mean doing nothing. It means cultivating a deep inner trust that no matter how chaotic things appear, there is a higher order at work. This trust allows you to move through life with a sense of peace, even in the midst of the storm. It allows you to see chaos not as a threat, but as a dance that you are now a part of. So here we are. Chaos is not your enemy. It's your teacher, your ally, your catalyst. It's the force that breaks you down, only to rebuild you stronger than ever. But rising above it is not a one-time event. It's a journey of self-awareness, action, resilience, faith, and surrender. And when you embrace this journey, when you fully step into your identity as a chosen one, you don't just rise above chaos, you transcend it. You become a beacon of light, not just for yourself, but for everyone around you. Because in the end, the chosen ones are not defined by the chaos they were born into. They are defined by the way they rise above it, the way they transform it, the way they use it to fulfill their purpose. That is the power of the chosen ones. And that power, it's in you.